And on that antagonistic note, let the flames begin, and more importantly, let's cast this one. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day one of G1 League group stage action. Invictus Gaming facing off against MUFC. Invictus Gaming, of course, your International 2 defending champions who look just absolutely dominant there. They also recently took the Ace League in Dota 1. This is a team that has been crushing through not only Chinese Dota, but also the rest of the world, and you got to consider them the favorites in any match they come into. MUFC, a team who had some serious issues with passports, was actually invited to TI2, was not able to attend. I'm your host, LD, and of course, joining me is my better half, GoDz. Together, we are David and David, and we are happy to be so similarly named. GoDz, MUFC, a team that's sort of done a bit of a roster reshuffle, but you're feeling pretty good about their new roster, and you're actually saying in the pregame you think they got a decent shot at this one.
Yeah, I think they got a shot to at least, well, not, I mean, to take one game, I think winning the series against IG, a team who the last two times they've played, their last two official matches were both grand finals. The grand final of the Ace Dota League came after TI2 and the TI2 grand finals. So their last two matches were best of 5 victories in grand finals. I mean, they're basically at the top of the world right now, the top of the Dota and Dota 2 scene. The thing is, they kind of took a bit of a holiday. They've been practicing, they've been scrimming for over a week now, but we'll have to see if they're really ready to get back into match play, and that's something MUFC can maybe use to their advantage. They've been playing in the ESWC qualifiers, the GEST, the GoSu Cups. They've been playing a lot more in tournaments, and bringing in some fresh blood, I mean, that's got to be a good thing here. So I feel MUFC have a shot at this series, and this is kind of where IG will be maybe at their shakiest this entire tournament. This is their first match back, and we're going to have to see if they can take down a tough contender, MUFC.
I do see a couple of people asking for pings in the chat. Guys, this is a Southeast Asian and Chinese tournament primarily. There are only 3 teams that are likely to be lagging. That's N9, Sequential Gaming, or Famofu's Feed Club, as he's calling themselves now, and of course Evil Geniuses. But N9 and SQL, or Famofu's team, are used to playing with the delay, and EG knew about it when they signed up for the tournament. So when we have these Chinese teams play, they actually ping quite well to Singapore. And 150 ping in Dota 2 is not 150 ping in Dota 1 and Warcraft 3. It is very playable, so really relax. The games are going to be good. The players, sure, it's not a LAN environment, but it's not like they're crippled by the delay. It's really nothing to worry about. So, yeah, I agree. I think this new MUFC lineup, it will be interesting. Now, Nick was very much sort of, I mean, he was the explosive, exciting player. Kind of a shame to see him leave the team, but sometimes you need fresh blood, and here's a hero in the Jakiro that I think might be the best support in the game right now, at least if you have the right team for him to fit into. That Ice Path, so strong. This is 6.75. I know he got some slight tweaks in the latest patch, which just came out yesterday. God, they just keep on flying out, but it's not out yet. This is 6.75, guys. So we also have the Lycan, who can't really jungle too effectively now. I guess they're going to run him as the safe lane farmer, probably Jakiro supporting that. And then a Templar Assassin solo mid. I mean, it's a little bit open at this point, but Jungle Lycan is slow, and he's very easy to shut down right now.
I feel the same, but I mean, Puppy still gave it a shot at the Star Ladder competition. He seems to think it's still viable. It definitely was slower. I mean, it's not something I thought was going to be possible at all, but Na'Vi were using that during Star Ladder throughout the well, not throughout, at least in a couple of the matches. I remember seeing it in the grand finals as well, but IG have gone very standard. This looks like we're still playing 6.74 here with their picks. I mean, this is like the kind of picks we saw at the International 2. Early Rubik and Tidehunter picks. Tidehunter, that great crowd control ultimate. But the winner and a third pick, not something seen too much lately, but it is a nice hero to have against those right-click heroes like Templar Assassin and Lycan. Great for locking them down with Shackle Shot, and also the Windrun gives Windrunner sort of the ability to kite them around and not be in too much danger. But like you say, Jakiro really the flavor of the month, especially in terms of supports with this new patch. Batrider, the other big hero with the new patch, getting banned out nice and early on. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams get into this new patch, because, I mean, all the European teams have been constantly playing on it, but this is the first big tournament for the Asian scene.
Yeah, we haven't seen IG play at all. LGD did play one series. We saw them play a series for the Alienware tournament, which I don't think a lot of people watch. Shiva was casting it yesterday. They ran something a little different. Xiao 8 was played a Keeper of the Light with 7-1-7, and this team had 15 kills. But that's Xiao 8 for you. I mean, they're playing against a bit of a lower caliber team in Tongfu, who's also had a roster reshuffle. And I think they even had a stand in that game. So we've seen some experimentation from the Chinese teams a little bit, but for the most part, we just don't know how they're going to play this version. And I guess if you're not really sure, you could start off with these safe picks, the Rubik, the Tide, the Windrunner. They're all great in this patch. Rubik got a slight nerf to his move speed. His Fade Bolt doesn't bounce quite as far, but basically they're the same reliable, solid picks. They can really fit into any situation. They're on the dire side, and, well, we know IG. They love to do their tri-lane in the safe lane and lots of pulling with double support. So if they want to do that, they have a good lineup to do it with. Tidehunter and Rubik, pretty level and farm dependent for supports.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll see them both as supports. I mean, it's entirely possible, but I think more likely it's going to be something like Ferrari playing that solo mid. Rubik is one of sort of his heroes that we saw at TI2. And that's one of the things, I mean, he's one of the best, maybe the best solo player in the world, at least up there in the top 5, but he hasn't got a huge array of heroes. But as far as solo mid players go, I mean, they're not going to be able to ban all those heroes. So as long as you have 3, 4, maybe 5 top tier heroes. I mean, there's not a whole lot of heroes that Dendy plays as well. I mean, you don't see Dendy often playing a Batrider mid or a DK mid. I mean, he did mix it up. We saw them pull out the DK against LGD once LGD started using it, but they're sort of your go-to 3 or 4 heroes. And Ferrari, Rubik's one of them. You've got your Tinker, you've got your Templar Assassin, you've got your Invoker. Those are kind of his big 4 heroes. So they picked up Rubik now. Unless we see one of those heroes as well, it's most likely he's going straight onto that Rubik in the mid lane. So yeah. I'd say for now, the worry for MUFC is just banning out some of those heroes which Joe wants to play. Some of those hard carry heroes that see Alchemist and Lone Druid being taken out of the pool, as well as the Chen. So a bit worried about maybe IG sort of grouping up for those mid-game pushes, getting too many sort of strong mid-game heroes, especially against Lycan and TA. These aren't great defending heroes.
You know, it's really interesting that you bring up the... so I wouldn't call it a limited repertoire of Ferrari, but he just has heroes that he's so good at his core heroes that even though he could play a very solid Night Stalker, and we've seen him play that from time to time, a Broodmother, we've seen him play that, he could definitely play other heroes, but he tends to break games open when he has sort of those core heroes you mentioned. This patch, there's less bans before that first round of picks, so to a certain extent, maybe this patch buffed or made Ferrari a little bit imbalanced, or any player who's just so strong on a smaller set of heroes, where normally you could try and ban out a hero like Rubik, but in this patch with Batrider just being a ridiculous solo, so annoying to deal with it kind of blows the field open for a player like him. And you mentioned the Lone Druid. He is going to get banned out, the Alchemist as well, but there's still other heroes in the pool. There's like a Chaos Knight. They could look to run that. It's not really a strong farmer. Anti-Mage is available. What are you thinking for Zoe right now? Something more aggressive or more of a late game hero?
I mean, Morphling has not... I don't think Morphling's even been picked in a competitive match since the nerf, so probably not going to see much play from him. Maybe... I mean, they need some kind of a semi, maybe something like a Queen of Pain if they want to go for a more semi-carry lineup. I mean, you've got Windrunner there as well to do some DPS, but it's something that Orange Esports do a lot, where they'll have the Queen of Pain and Windrunner as their 2 core sort of heroes. Orange managed to win an amazing game against Flash Esports the other day with Mushi just playing a carry Queen of Pain. They had like Queen of Pain and Leshrac as their carries. I mean, managed to outcome his heroes, but we're going to see Keeper of the Light, a hero which the Chinese teams over the last few months have just decided, hey, this hero is damn freaking good. Something which the CIS teams, some of those Ukrainian and Russian teams sort of popularized. But, I mean, you mentioned Zhao Wei playing a fantastic Keeper of the Light yesterday when he was up against Tong Fu in both games. And IG are going to run with something very similar. And this, to me, it looks like they've got a great sort of grouped up and team fight, but it's like, how are they going to control the game? They haven't got great movement around the map. They haven't got very mobile heroes. They also haven't got that hard carry to fall back on. So I feel just having the good team fight isn't going to be enough for IG. This last hero needs to either be some kind of hard carry for them or something to give them a bit of push, a bit of sort of more stability going into that mid game, so that not only do they have the strong team fight, because MUFC can just avoid those team fights, but you have to punish them if they avoid the team fights by pushing towers. So maybe they go for something like the Luna, maybe they go for a DK here, something with some pushing power as well.
Yeah, I mean, DK, Luna, very solid heroes. And the nice thing about Luna is she really combos well with these big team fight specialists like Tidehunter, where they sort of clear out the creep wave, you lock down the enemy, and then your ult really does damage. So they really have all the lockdown they need. They have the team fight potential. They have great anti-push coming out from Keep of the Light. The one thing I noticed when Xiaowei was playing Keeper of the Light yesterday is he didn't really have too big of an impact in the first couple of minutes, but once the team fight started breaking out, Keeper of the Light does a deceptive amount of damage, and it's one of these things where you really kind of have to focus him first. Even though he's a support, even though he doesn't have much in the way of disables, I guess you can count Blinding Light, but it's not really a hard lockdown spell. But if you ignore this hero, it can really ruin you in a team fight, especially when you've got stuff like Shackle Shot and Ravage to set him up. So you mentioned DK, you mentioned Luna. Obviously, those are 2 of the more likely picks. I'm even going to throw something like a Faceless Void out there. Doesn't have good lane control, but they have the heroes that already give them good lane control. They have their anti-push. They have a lineup that can turtle effectively. And in the late game, having Chronosphere and having the Tidehunter, plus the Keeper of the Light, all these ranged heroes to attack into that Chronosphere, I think it could be very strong. Also, nope, there you go. It's the Phantom Lancer. Oh boy, that's Zoe's hero, and it's the Keeper of the Light Phantom Lancer combo.
Yeah, this is very old school. This is something which we may see a bit more of with Phantom Lancer's bonus agility per level. The problem is he still suffers from his old problems. I mean, it wasn't the fact he didn't have enough agility why he wasn't picked before. It was that there were often better carry heroes. He didn't really he wasn't that good at forcing fights in the past versions. And this is going to be an interesting little pick to have against MUFC though, because MUFC have 3 sort of close range right click heroes, and the Lycan, the Bounty Hunter, as well as the TA. None of them are good at defending, but they're going to be entirely relying on the sort of the defensive capabilities of the Earthshaker and the Jakira, their 2 supports, which is sort of banking a lot on those 2 heroes. But when IG don't have a huge amount of push, this could work out pretty well for them. And I mean, PL against these melee carries, I mean, that's kind of what you want to have. And as long as you've got the illusions up, you get a Diffusal Blade, you can really sort of tear apart some of these heroes here. So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that. I think MUFC, despite having 3 great right-click DPSs for the late game, they need to have a strong early to mid-game phase, start ganking the map. They've got the Bounty Hunter and TA. They want to get that sort of early game snowball with the track gold, with the TA being very aggressive around the map.
It's interesting. They have these 2, like you mentioned, defensive powerhouses between Fissure and Ice Path. Tower diving against MUFC is going to be pretty dangerous. Being aggressive against them is pretty dangerous. But then the other 3 heroes are tower divers. They're aggressive heroes in the mid game. The Bounty Hunter, the TA. They rely on killing the Lycan. You want to be knocking down towers. You don't just want to be farming against IG. Because Zoe's probably getting free farm this game. Let's introduce the players real quickly. Sharky, going to be handling that Bounty Hunter. Often the jungler or support for this team, but he'll be handling the offlane. Early Quelling Blade pickup from him. Probably going to take some good harassment. Ohio, the new member of this team, just joined, like you mentioned, kind of an up-and-coming player in the Southeast Asian scene. He's going solo mid and really rushing a bottle. No regen for him. Ken in the base with the early reign of Basilius will be jungling on the Lycanthrope. Has not been pulled regen. That's something we saw Puppey got a lot of at Starladder. That's part of how he jungled effectively. His team pulled him regen so he could start with the Stout Shield so he could just not have to go back to base, net on the Earthshaker, and then finally Ling playing the Jakiro, and it looks like a little skirmish over this bottom rune. They're running an offensive tri-lane, and it's an offensive tri-lane. They don't have any stuns, but the kill potential is definitely here.
Yeah, and in that offensive trial, we've got Zhou playing the Phantom Lancer, Chuan on the Tidehunter, and then Keeper of the Light in the hands of Faith. IG, they are going to see Ferrari 430 playing the Soulmate Rubik, and YYF on one of his signature heroes, something he didn't play all that much at TI2, but Windrunner, back in the day, is a hero he was very, very proficient at, and something to look out for here. But Tri-Lane versus Tri-Lane, and I think it looks like Lycan has decided not to jungle. He didn't use his mana to summon wolves from base. He's going to go in this Tri-Lane versus Tri-Lane, and I mean, Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer, against this sort of, and Tidehunter against this defensive Tri-Lane of MUFC, I think they should be able to keep Lycan away from farm here, and they can just keep on spamming him out of the lane. Keeper of the Light just such a great offensive Tri-Lane hero, I feel, and this is not going to be an easy lane for MUFC.
Oh, Ken's taking a lot of damage already. The Gush put a beautiful ice pad. That's the defensive capability, and it doesn't matter because Faith was there with the big Illuminate. You said you could keep him back. Well, that is a big way to do it. First Blood claim, not even a minute in, and that's a lane that has a Jakiro with Ice Pet and Earthshaker with Fissure. These 2 huge AoE stuns, but Lycan just taking a lot of right-click damage, and the nuke's too much. I gotta say, you really don't expect that to happen, but it shows you the power of this tri-lane, and that's only at level 1. Now they hit level 2, and life gets a lot harder.
Yeah, I think Lycan's just kind of thinking, okay, I mean, I can go in for a last hit. Sure, you've got the ES and Jakiro behind you, but ES and Jakiro are thinking, I don't want to be using my Fissure and Ice Breath this early on just to save you. And, I mean, Kenny, 1 Gush, 1 Lance, and he's already in such a bad position. And, I mean, all the lanes so far for IG, I mean, they're looking pretty decent here. Bounty Hunter's not going to have a fun time against the Windrunner. Bounty Hunter has gone for the Quelling Blade. It's one of those scenarios where you almost need a Stout Shield, and it's just going to get constantly harassed in that top lane, whereas it's pressure all over the map for MUFC. The bottom tri-lane already in a bad position, and the other 2 lanes are not going to be all that good for them. It's going to come down to the TA in that sort of early game stages. Once he gets the bottle, starts getting some runes and phase boots up to sort of try alleviate some of that pressure by ganking the map.
And you know, it's a tri-lane where these heroes, especially Jakiro, I feel like all his spells are so powerful, you really do want to max them. Ice Path on 2. They could look for a Fissure block here. Is not quite going to get the Keeper of the Light in the position he wants him, and now Zoe running away. In comes the Illuminate Blast, not going to connect, and the chase goes on to Faith, who is kind of caught out. In the end, he does go down. Great counter kill. Meanwhile, YYF gets a solo kill up top while this is all happening onto the Bounty Hunter. And I actually think it's a lane that can go either way, just because Janata harass is so aggravating. But you'll notice YYF has a Sentry Ward placed here. was probably using that to zone that bounty hunter off. And a solo kill up top, that should help sort of make up for the frustration of giving up a kill bottom. But giving up that kill bottom, it gives a little bit to MUFC after a pretty bad start.
Yeah, I mean, that's why MUFC need this bottom lane. They're going to go in again. They may get Zhou. Zhou getting down to about 40 HP. He narrowly survives, and it's the turnaround. Lycan goes down for the second time this game. Ken has not had the start he'd like in this bottom lane. And, I mean, Lycan's a hero where he needs levels. He also needs that early game farm to get the Vlads up as soon as possible. When you've got your Karanimes just a bassering and ring of regen, you can't really offer much in the laning stage. So, IG all over this bottom lane, and here comes Rubik, here comes Ferrari, picking up a haster, and he thinks he can make something happen. ES going to get pulled back in. He doesn't want to drop the fission. It looks like he's not going to have to, but IG, I mean, they're looking to get active on the map. I mean, that's a very early movement coming from a Rubik who's just level 4. Yeah, I'm very surprised. Ferrari is a solo mid player who doesn't really gank too much in the first couple of levels. He normally likes to get his core levels and items up and then go and get aggressive. He's only level 4, it was a haster, but it's also a lane that's tough to gank unless they're away from the tower. Jakira and Earthshaker, very clunky, very slow, but at the same time, if they're near the tower, you can't dive, because if either of those stuns hit you, you're probably going to die. And now he's really falling behind mid. 21-9 already for Ohio. Ferrari not only underleveled, but also a bit underfarmed. It looks like Ohio might be able to get this rune. Ferrari tries to steal it. Nice telekinesis, throwing it back, securing that one. Meanwhile, YYF and Sharky continue to trade blows. Although Sharky gave up a kill, I mean, you talked about the TA sort of helping out. This is a hero that can also turn around that tri-lane. Once Bounty Hunter gets 6, even if you just have basic items like a boots, a bottle, you can start making kills happen. And once you get 1 or 2 track kills for a tri-lane, that completely turns things around. Yeah, but look at this. YYF at top lane is just really being aggressive on Sharky. Sharky has gone for the bottle you mentioned. Probably going to pick up some boots in a second, but this is not a good start for him at top. Winner just really pushing him out of the lane, and he may just have to resort to trying to gank this bottom lane, leaving the lane to the Windrunner to get more or less free farm, just because he's not making anything happen in this top lane. He's not going to be able to kill Windrunner with his level and farm deficit, but he can't really do much. He's not much used to his team just farming in the top lane. Yeah, he's actually chosen to max the Shuriken Toss, which we don't really see that often. Normally, it scales best with the first 2 points, so we normally see either 2 points into Janata or into Shadow Walk. But this pretty much tells you he wants to get active in those other lanes soon. It's going to give him a little more burst damage. Ensure they get those quick kills. Net takes a gush, and the Illuminate Blast. Fissure on 2 to shut down that gank, and well, this is the defensive capabilities. At least when they're near the tower, getting those kills gets a lot more difficult, but Ken really not farming. Only 7-0. Meanwhile, that Phantom Lancer being played by Zoe, sitting at 26-6, and unfarmed Lycan is a big concern. It's not like he's getting a lot of levels either. Trying to snipe off net. Look at the supports. They're sitting behind the tower. They are zoned so far out of this lane. It's like they might as well not even be there. Yeah, I mean, he just has to sit. I mean, he hasn't got any HP regen left, but even so, I mean, you get caught by a gush, followed up by a Lance and Illuminate, and that's almost an instant kill here. Jakira just going to throw down Ice Path whenever possible, and here comes the TP. It's in the form of Bounty Hunter. He wants to make something happen, but this Bounty Hunter's got very little mana. He's got 1 track on him, or maybe a Shuriken if he waits it out, and we're going to see the Fissure in with an Ice Path. It's Tron they want. Tron not going to get tracked up here. Sharky wants to save his mana, and Sharky TP's in. He's not even going to get a kill here. He's going to actually go down. Turned around. IG Zhou picks up another kill for IG at the bottom lane, and this is just suddenly taking a turn for the worse at the bottom lane. I'm just looking at the HP bars right now, the health bars for this squad, and you might have been wondering, what is Bounty Hunter doing, and more importantly, where's his team? Well, they couldn't fight. If they came in, they would have died for sure to those nukes. And it wasn't really an effective time to gank. The entire tri-lane was low HP, they were low mana, and then Sharky as well didn't have it. Now he's got a full bottle, now he's got a TP scroll up again. And the cooldown is there, but no opportunities. In fact, not only does the gank fail, but now Chuan goes back to base, gets full health, gets a set of wards, has his boots. So the next time he comes to gank, it's going to be a lot harder. Plus, he just gave away that gold. Yeah. And now YYF free farming top. The 2 solos that are leading this game, the Windrunner and the TA. Ferrari's starting to get the levels up, though. Yeah, TA has really done well at this mid lane, 41 and 15. He's almost 2 levels ahead of the Rubik here, and TA just one of those 1v1 heroes that just has very few counters. There's not much you can do against it. He's actually been trying to go in on Ferrari on a couple different occasions, trying to use that level advantage of his to try to get some kills here, but Ferrari's played it smart so far. Little does he know, here comes the Jakiro. Jakiro looking to pick up a kill here. There's a defensive telekinesis, and it looks like he's stolen traps as well, so he will have some slows. He's actually going to walk right into Jakiro here, followed by a trap, and this could be bad for Ferrari. The telekinesis not going to get thrown on the Jakiro, and this is going to be the end of Ferrari here. One more right click from Ohio. They get a kill, and that's what they need. Sorry, not Orange. MUFC, the former Orange player, Ohio. But MUFC needs kills from this TA, and now he needs to start moving more around the map.
Yeah, they get the kill, and they can go right onto Chuan. The ice pad just barely missing, but if that had connected, that is a kill for sure. Chuan's only level 4, and I really like this decision by IG. Rotate him out of the tri-lane. Now that you're having a good start, get level 6 up on the Tide, because they need it. As we get towards the mid-game, having Ice Path and Fissure, you need the Ravage to counter that. You need some sort of lockdown. In fact, if you look at this team, aside from Ravage, it's all single target lockdown, aside from what Ferrari can steal. And I gotta say, he's probably stealing Fissure or something big in the mid-game, and we'll be screaming our heads off once he does. But for the moment, sort of a passive farming state. They get the kill mid. Unfortunately, Bounty Hunter wasn't there. But I think the next time we see the TA leave the lane, the Bounty Hunter's going to join her, and that's where they can really start to break this game open for them.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be. I mean, for me, MUFC, yeah, for them, their timing is the Bounty Hunter and the TA moving around the map together, being aggressive. I mean, you've got the Lycan who just needs to sit back and farm, have those two heroes create space for him. He's not really a pure late game carry, but he needs space to sort of maybe even push towers on his own, go for a 4-1 split, have Lycan solely pushing towers while those other 4 heroes try and fight, be aggressive. And for IG, they want to get that Tide Ravage up. Tide's actually almost level 6 already, and this is going to be dangerous.
This should be a kill bottom. Honestly, Ohio could just go in now. Maybe he's worried about counter ganking some sort of TPs. He's really biding his time here. In fact, it's almost getting to the point where you could argue he's wasting time, but IG seemed to know something's up. They did have the bottom ward. They not only have a ward there, but the bottom rune warded, but they also have a trap as well, which Ferrari has stolen and been using. This also makes him harder to gank. But it looks like the gank isn't going to happen. And in the end, Ohio is going to journey back towards mid. Jakiro level 5 now. No TP on him. Can take a little harassment, and the Illuminating Blast not coming in, so he'll be okay. Well, and now the
here comes IG's movement. They've smoked up here. They avoided all that ward vision from the Radiant side coming in the bottom river there. But it looks like ES, Lycan, Ken and Net, they seem to know something is up here. They're going to get spotted by a ward behind the tower, and this could be the end of Ken. Gush comes in, so they reveal that they have a ward there, but they get a kill out of it, so well worth it now, although we probably will see that being dewarded fairly soon, as that's a ward which MUFC just can't afford to let remain there.
Oh no, Ling misplaced the... Oh, that's an Observer ward, actually. I was going to say misplaced the Sentry ward a little bit, but they do know it's there. The pings came out, so expect for it to be dewarded soon. Ohio back to the mid lane. He is close to a blink, and honestly at this point, maybe it's better just to farm that up, because it seems like whenever he rotates, IG are kind of wise to his tricks, and just having that extra mobility might be enough to allow him to dive a tower, get a kill, and then get out of dodge scot-free. So now they're trying to farm a little bit. It looks like Lycan's just going to rotate into the jungle, and as the Earthshaker only level 2, this really is going to feel like a liability in the mid game. Compared to the supports of IG, Faith is level 6, the Tide Hunter also level 6, so both of them have their core levels up. Earthshaker pretty decent as far as underleveled supports go, but I would really like to see Net starting to get a little bit more. It's just tough in this lane. If he approaches the creep wave, he's going to get harassed out.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a support here that can do without levels, but you'd prefer to have them. We're going to see some aggression at top. YYF gets helped by Faith, who does have the blinding light, and here comes the backstab from Chuan Ferrari. They've got a Ravage if they need it. Doesn't look like they're going to need it to get Ohio. Ohio should go down, does go down to a power shot here. Sharky on the run. And he's going to try to deny this tower, but I don't think he's going to be able to deny it fast enough. He's forced to just back off here. This tower's going to go the way of IG. They'd love to get that on Joe. It goes to YYF. YYF improves his fantastic start. He's got his phase boots, bottle, and wand. He's almost going to have enough gold for a mech now as well with that tower kill. This
is looking possibly a 13-minute relic, 14-minute relic, the way Zoe's farming. If he gets any more kills, or I mean, if he had gotten that tower, he'd pretty much have it. And this is a nice thing you could do with the Keeper of the Light and the Phantom Lancer, is recall him back with your team. So it almost makes him like a Spectre, where he can farm one side of the map, but he doesn't have to use TP to join the fight. Keeper of the Light can bring him there, so it really increases the farming efficiency of the carry, and I like IG using this, and in fact, they're not even going to use it to farm. They're going to push. They're feeling very emboldened having Ferrari level 8, and more importantly, having this Chuan Ravage. And it looks like MUFC don't want to take a fight.
Yeah, I mean, you can really see the power of the Keeper of the Light here. I mean, not only for supporting the Phantom Lance and winning that bottom lane, but Blinding Light used to the top lane and used later on in this game is just such a great counter to this MUFC lineup. The TA, the Lycan, the Bounty Hunter, all three right-click heroes. I mean, Bounty Hunter's got the Shuriken, but Blinding Light is just going to completely negate those heroes in a teamfight scenario. It's going to be to the point where MUFC just can't take a fight. Even if they get farm on those heroes, they'll just get completely demolished. I mean, you've got a Tide Ravage, Blinding Light. I mean, we don't have to kite heroes around. I mean, MUFC are going to have to really sort of focus on splitting the map, trying to just get sort of small-scale engagement. Look for little one-off pick-offs here and there. Look to sort of split the IG team up and take towers where they can. But right now it's IG. They're the ones in control, and they're using this draft really well and executing their strategy so far.
It's hard to split a team up when they have all their outer towers. And when you have, you know, a fairly mobile lineup, at least coming out for the Windrunner, the Phantom Lancer, having some mobility with that Doppelwalk, and Keeper of the Light to move whoever needs to be in, whoever is not in the right position into that correct position. So, I mean, mostly it comes down to the map control and the fact they haven't lost towers, but it just feels like MUC are not going to have an easy time spreading the map. That's what they want to do. You're completely right. That's why you pick Bounty Hunter. You want to go for those solo pickoffs, but not only are they keeping their towers up and playing very defensively, but they're roaming as a pack. We're not seeing any supports try and go ward by themselves. There's not going to be too many easy kills this game, it seems, but this might be one on Faith on the bottom lane. In comes Sharky, Ice Path connects, and a quick, easy kill. Couple of auto attacks was all it took. No blinding light for you, sir, they say.
Yeah, and that's the good news. They get track off, they get some bonus gold, they split that around, and I mean, that's kind of what the new patch is sort of encouraged, getting more of these kills in, not only with the track gold, but also the bonus XP and gold when they have multiple heroes around those kills. So that's going to be what MUFC just need more of. Get a quick pick off, then back off and get some more farm up. You've got the Vlads on Ken, you're going to see Sharky start building up. It looks like a drum of endurance, and I mean, all these heroes just need to get that next level of items up. Blink Dagger is almost finished on TA, and with that, it'll be a lot easier for Ohio to start controlling this game.
In theory, yes, but if you can't jump into them as a group. When IG are grouped up, you can't jump, so it'll help if they spread out, but in this situation, I don't know what the Blink actually does. Oh, Sharky gets pulled out, and nice Ice Path catching too. Chuan does a Ravage. Will he blow it for this kill? No,
and he's stolen the track as well. This track being turned on Bounty Hunter by Ferrari, and that's not something he's going to be too happy about. And his team in general, they haven't got the ward behind tower, but track acts even better than a ward in some scenarios. I mean, it's following those heroes all around, gives vision of Sharky as well as anything near him, so they know Jakira's there. And I mean, this really makes it hard to defend when your opponents have complete vision of everything you're doing. Chuan gets an uncontested tower as Lycan's trying to counter push at mid, but IG say we got a tower, there's no point giving up any towers, let's just defend our lanes. We're in no rush. We've got the Phantom Lancer who's picked up his relic now on his way to a very fast Radiance here. And IG just happy to get their next level of items up. Maybe start getting YYF his 4-staff. Maybe even go straight for that Sheepstick if they want to use that as a counter to some of these right-click heroes. You know,
MUFC had a game plan. They wanted to get the Lycan some safe protected farm with the very strong defensive picks, the Earthshaker, the Twin-Headed Dragon. They wanted to get the Bounty Hunter and the TA up to level 6 or 7, get their core items, and then start setting up kills. That was their goal with this team, and then, like you said, in the mid-game, spread the map, split push effectively, but you need items and levels to do that, and IG, I have to say, not only is their Phantom Lancer pretty much free farming at this point, coming out of an offensive tri-lane, but even the supports getting levels, getting farm, this is IG, just always being efficient with their time. YYF, the lead farmer in this game, but you'll notice he didn't just get his quick items up and then continue to farm. He got the mech and then he joined the team and started pushing with them, even the Rune of Basilius, just to give them that plus armor to sustain the push. Everything about IG, it just feels it feels very decisive and very coordinated from them.
Oh yeah, I mean, all their item choices are just the correct ones so far. I mean, you can even see, I mean, all their supports getting Tranquil Boots, just anything to keep themselves continually healed up in between these little clashes. Any damage MUFC do is quickly healed up, and that's what we saw, especially at the bottom lane. Like you mentioned, Bounty Hunter TP'd in, his teammates just couldn't back him up because they were just so low, and IG have just really sort of controlling all their opponents' movements. They're the puppeteers right now, and it's up to MUFC to make something happen, which they're just currently unable to do so. They're keeping track of the IG heroes. I mean, Bounty Hunters moving around the map, tracking heroes, looking for openings, but IG just aren't giving them those openings. Even with the split, I mean, there's 2 bottom, 2 mid, 1 top, but MUFC, I mean, if they go on one of those sort of small clusters of heroes, immediately IG react, they back off, or there's TPs in. IG have the map control, and that's come with keeping all their towers up on the map. They know where MUFC are moving, and it's not really something which MUFC can do themselves. I mean, it's a lot harder for them to find any openings.
It really goes back to keeping those towers up early and then knocking down MUFCs as well. It just gives you so much map control, so much more freedom to move around, and also it gives your supports much quicker access to counter gank. Sharky is going to spot out Zoe, and they do have track here. TA isn't far off. They might even look to go on this track on the Zoe. Watch how quickly the TPs will come if he needs the help. Not quickly at all because they're pushing mid. There's the first TP. Zoe TPing out, waited for that Shuriken toss, and he will escape. Then the Blinding Light, driving back Sharky and OA. Or maybe that wasn't the Blinding Light. Oh no, pops the Spirit Form. Maybe gonna recall a teammate. Ferrari is here as well. Dust is just gonna clip Sharky, but I think he's too far away. It's Ohio who's gonna get caught, and this is trouble. This is a very dead TA. Cannot see her living through this one. Thrown back in, and it was actually a few seconds later than I expected, but you'll notice by the time that fight ends, IG have 5 heroes punishing that aggression.
I mean, absolutely. This may be a slightly overcommitment because they are taking a bit of damage at mid lane, but even with 5 going top, the MUFC don't manage to get much damage done on this mid lane. They get 5 top, they get a kill on TA, and then they're instantly back defending their other lanes, making sure that MUFC can't make anything happen. He's only got treads and the Vlads at this point. He hasn't really caught up yet, despite doing slightly better now, getting some farm. He hasn't picked up too many deaths since the laning stage, but it's still IG. They're the ones who are pushing their opponents around, and MUFC who have to come up with some answers. And what we're going to see is IG just getting more levels, getting more core items up. They may want to pick up a gem to help deal with the Bounty Hunter as well as the Templar Assassin. We're going to have it looks like an urn is actually finished on the Keeper of the Light. And this is going to be really hard to deal with. I mean, the only slight mistake I've seen from IG right now is they're actually getting 2 urns, both on Rubik and Keeper of the Light. That's very uncharacteristic of them, but I'd say it's just a slight little slip up and miscommunication.
I gotta say, it's a lot better than the double mechanism.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even that they're such a finely tuned machine that even little moments you probably wouldn't even bother to mention that with other teams. But with IG, everything else is going so smoothly that this is the one thing sort of worth pointing out. And it looks like he's not even going to deliver it. He may go back and sell those items in the end. Not sure if there's just some courier miscommunication. Either way, they're starting to get their core items up. So now we look towards the mid game, and IG with a pretty early Radiance on Zoe, that gank failing top, the Radiance now complete. Another 500 gold. Normally we see maybe a Vitality booster, but then quickly into a Diffusal Blade, just to get sort of that big burst damage potential, the chasing power. Late game Phantom Lancer, do you think MUFC can take this as the game goes later? The one thing I'll say about IG, if the BKBs come out, there's big fight breaking out mid, but the Fissure Ice Path shuts it down, just completely negates that aggression. It's
so strong defensively, and I mean, as far as the late game Phantom Lancer goes, I mean, to me, they've got the minus armor. They can tear through him, and they've got the AoE to deal with his illusions as well with the ES, the Jakira. I mean, if you get too many illusions, that's going to be an ES Echo Slam doing a lot of extra damage. The problem is PL is actually great at scouting out the ES, preventing him from blinking in, using that Radiance, sends in some illusions. So it kind of works both ways, where in some ways they have ways to counter one another. But I think they've got the damage to kill a Phantom Lancer. I don't think Phantom Lancer alone is going to carry it late game. The problem is, I mean, YYF with this Windrunner is going to be doing a lot of damage and having a huge impact in these fights. And IG will take it into the late game as a team, whereas MUFC will be looking to their damage deals, looking to the TA as well as the Lycan to get the many kills. They can't really have much offered from some of those other support heroes who are just a bit too underleveled, a bit too underfarmed. I like what
MUFC is doing as well. They're going for early BKBs. The Bounty Hunter hasn't started to build one yet, but I won't be surprised if I see it. But Ken already with the Ogre Club picked up, and the TA pick up that quick Mithril Hammer. I assume it's a BKB. Now it could be a Desolator, but I really think you need the magic immunity this game. I feel like if you have 2 or 3 BKBs, you can just jump in and try and either assassinate some of these supports or force them to use spells when they don't want to. Maybe a badly timed Ravage just before he dies. So we'll see. I guess Desolator's an option, but mass BKBs in the mid game could give IG some trouble. Like you said, they do have a very farm Windrunner between the Force Staff, the Mechanism, and probably a Pipe, or maybe Chuan. Has Chuan actually got a Blink Dagger already? Oh, this is big. Blink Dagger picked up for Chuan and the Smoke. This is very aggressive, I have to say, and they may even... this is the new Aegis. Maybe that's why they're going for it. The early Blink, you have the 6-minute window, win a big fight with the Ravage, and then push down some towers. I'm thinking that's what IG is going for right here.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to just force fights here. I mean, PL's picked up a Vitality booster, a cheap, cost-effective way of boosting her HP. Doesn't have to get the full heart now, can now transition into the Diffusal, but just getting that Vitality boost will make him and his illusions a lot tankier, and like you say, Chuan with a Blink, it's very, very aggressive. They want to force fights, and I think it comes down to those BKBs, like you mentioned. That's the only thing that can cause IG some big problems, some big issues here. And I mean, TA, I'd be surprised if this is going to be a Desolator. They need the BKBs to deal with the Tide Ravage, the Shackle Shots. Same goes for the Lycan. We need to see BKBs. He's got his Ogre Club up. So once those two get their BKBs, Bounty Hunter not even finishing off his Drum of Endurance. He's starting a BKB of his own as well. So IG really trying to force the issue here while they can.
This is the beauty of having that ability from the Keeper of the Light. YYF suddenly here after defending the top lane, and now they're going to siege this one, and they can siege it quite fast with the focus fire. Like you talked about, it's a strong defensive lineup. Net only level 8 though, and no Blink Dagger for him, and the tower taking tons of damage. There is a glyph. Has not been popped just yet. The split push coming through mid, but I really don't think they can base trade. They're probably hoping that IG sort of give up in this game of chicken first, but IG know better. The Ice Path on 2, driving them back for the moment, but not really. Fisher, I believe, just stolen by Ferrari. No, he only gets Enchant Totem, and it is Zoe. Probably don't have trouble blinking from Chwan. Ravage on 3, Shackle on 2. YYF, beautiful little Shackle from him, and that sets up a quick double kill. So they have buybacks. It doesn't look like a TA just bought that BKB recipe. Bounty Hunter just bought his Ogre Club. This may cost them a lane of Brax.
I know, we're just 23 minutes in the game, so all you people saying the Chinese teams, they like to turtle, they like to sort of just get their farm up. They picked PL, they got his farm, but 23 minutes in, we're seeing them go in for Araxia. They're not wasting time. They're looking to end this as fast as possible, and MUFC are just sitting there watching, scratching their heads like, crap, what do we do? I mean, tied with the Blink Ravage, straightforward enough. YYF with the perfect follow-up, and they did that all without sentry wards. I mean, YYF was bringing some more in on the courier. He's got 4 at base, but they didn't even need them there. Just the perfect setup, catching MUFC by surprise, and MUFC just don't have the items up to defend this. All the hero composition. I mean, even with ES and Jakiro, I mean, they're their 2 supports. They need some follow-up, some additional damage coming from their solos and their carries, which just doesn't happen. It's too much sort of right-click carries. They've got 3 of them in some ways, rather than, if you look at IG, they've got the Winra, they've got the Rubik. These semi-carries are so strong at this stage in the game, and they're punishing MUFC for their greedy picks.
And I gotta say, we haven't really seen Ferrari steal the ideal spells yet. He hasn't stolen Fissure, he hasn't stolen Ice Path. If he gets his hands on those, I think the fight even gets harder. And what does he steal now from Ohio? It's only the traps. Trap detonated on 2. I don't think they're quite ready to go in. Sharky, a little harassment top lane, but it looks like the sieges, they're wasting no time. They still have the Aegis up, and they really want to put this to use. I think this is something we're going to see a lot more from teams. We haven't seen it that much since the changes to Aegis, but as people sort of get accustomed to it, is when you have that Aegis, just be very aggressive because you only get it for 6 minutes.
Yeah, right off the bat, that's exactly what IG are doing here. And I mean, MUFC not even trying to defend this tier 2 tower. And the problem is, I mean, they're not really getting much farm or items elsewhere on the map in the side lanes. They're not getting any of those other towers. Last time they got 2 towers at mid lane while IG were pushing that bottom lane. So at least they're making some trade, even though they ended up losing the fight, losing their Raxes here. But this time, they're just giving away towers for nothing. And this is kind of where you can see IG in complete utter control here. And they're just going to keep looking to force this at mid. They may wait for the bottom lane to push in a bit more to provide some additional pressure, make it even harder for MUFC to defend. But they're not in a huge rush here. Sure, the Aegis only has maybe 2 or 3 minutes left on it, but there's nothing really stopping this push coming in. PL just right-clicking away on that tower, slowly and steadily taking it down. It
should be mentioned, Net has not only picked up his Blink Dagger, but has also smoked up. This, to me, is the one hero. This and the BKB on the TA. If they jump in at the right time, in the right place, that may be able to turn off this push. But look at what Zoe is doing, sending in the illusion just to apply that Radiance Burn, disabling the Blink Dagger. Now the tower's down, and even if they get a perfect Echo Slam, will it be enough? There's an Aegis on Zoe, these support's pretty tanky. And look at the positioning from IG. They know a perfect Echo Slam. No, they don't! They get caught! Oh my goodness, it's a massacre! Ravage going the other way, but the damage is already done. Chwan on the run. The Aegis gonna respawn though, and that may turn this around. Shackle, latching 10, up to Sharky. 2 heroes caught. A smoke was popped by IG. They're trying to retreat out. The BKB ends on Ohio. Fissure going back, trying to slow down this counter aggression from IG. That's 1 hero dead for MUFC. Look at the health bars.
Oh my.
Bounty Hunter just barely going down to Ferrari. And in the end, it's a 3 for 3 and an Aegis of the Mortal lost. But now they might actually Rax it anyway. That was such a great fight for MUFC and a little bit sloppy by IG grouping up. Will they be able to stop this? I just don't know.
I mean, great fight for MUFC, but they ended up in such a poor position. They lost 2, and the 3 heroes who survived had less than like a couple hundred HP. And IG, I mean, sure, there's a couple buybacks in there, but they still come out okay on that, thanks to the Aegis on PL. among other things. And now MUFC may be overextending here. The entire IG team is back alive. Yes gets picked off here. Jakiro getting very low as well. The Lance is going to finish off Jakiro. Ling, maybe not. Yes, Ferrari blinking in with a Fade Bolt. And MUFC just being dropped one by one. They're going to lose the mid-Raxes here. And this could be it. This could be Game 1 going the way of IG. They're doing everything they can to defend. Buybacks are plenty, but there's not enough. There's nothing left in the tank for MUFC.
There's really not, and now they're down 2 lanes of Rex at 27 minutes. Ling gets pulled back in a lot of trouble, probably going to go down to Zoe. He will. YYF picking up another kill. Unstoppable. Has he even died yet this game? 6-0 on 4. He is not, and he wants more. Down goes the Bounty Hunter. 2 lanes of Rex completed, and what do you know? Now the Aegis is gone, but fortunately for IG, they have 2 lanes of Rex, and they only have a couple minutes to go. This is something I really haven't seen, at least in the European games I've watched since the patch, just playing incredibly aggressively and having this timing push. As soon as you have the Aegis of the Immortal, just go in the offensive, start knocking down towers, and force fights. It also helped their lineup was constructed that way, but like you said as well, didn't want to let the BKBs come out. Even just the little touches, like sending in the Radiance PL to prevent that Earthshaker from getting Echo Slam initially, although he still found a great one in the end, and big props to Net for that, but IG in a commanding position, and it's going to be real tough to turn this game around for MUFC.
Yeah, I mean, he's found the opening to get the Echo Slam off. It just doesn't matter. And the problem is now, I mean, there's no Aegis up on IG. They're up 2 lanes of Raxes. I mean, but they can still go for this next push, this next lane, even without the Aegis up. They can wait for Roshan if they want to play it ultra safe, which will be up in a couple of minutes here. Joe actually, he's not scanning out. He's actually going to pick up his Heart of Tarask. Joe with a heart. 1,400 gold on top of that, and this PL now is going to get pretty unkillable. And I mean, MUFC just do not have the items really to defend yet. They don't have. I mean, they've got 1 BKB up, so they've got 2 now with the Lycan as well as the TA having 1, but there's just not enough damage coming from those 2 heroes. I mean, TA needs some kind of damage items on top of the BKB to stand a chance at killing anything more than maybe a Keeper of the Light in these team fights.
And now there's a Scythe of Ice on YYF, so more lockdown. If you jump in and your BKB's not already up, and he's quick, he can just scythe you, and all of a sudden the fight will turn around completely. They both jump in, they wanted to go on to Ling, they wanted to pick off that Jakiro, the Twin-Headed Dragon. Not able to do so, but the last Outer Tower gets knocked down, and this is sort of the final stand for MUFC. If they lose this fight, they probably lose, in fact, they definitely lose the game. So it all comes down to this, and it's going to be so hard to find a good opening now with that Hex, with that extra level of items, the Heart of Tarask, but they're going to try their damnedest to defend. MUFC, is there a BKB up at least for Sharky? No, still not yet, so it's just the 2.
Yeah, it's just the 2, and I mean, BH has decided he's going to start building this Drum of Endurance by the looks of things, picking up this Robe of the Magi. He's kind of recognized, well, we're down 2 sets of Raxes, this next push is coming before my BKB's up. He's getting whatever cheap, cost-effective items he can, but here comes IG. They've got a Sheepstick up on YYF's Windrunner. They're just going to be plowing through this top lane. They can just chip away at it slowly. PL can go in front if he wants. He's got the heart. He's pretty hard to kill. I mean, even without the Aegis there, it's very unlikely that they take him out. And, I mean, YYF just pretty much unkillable there in the front lines as well. Just slowly chipping away at this tower.
Oh, no. Sniped from the low ground by Ferrari, getting the vision from the PL illusions. And that's just an easy, quick assassination there. And even with the BKB, oh, look at this backstab by Net. Net wants to go around from the backside. This could be epic. Echo on 2. Ravage the other way, though, but the BKBs were up. It didn't really do anything. The problem now is, like you said, no damage. Ken charges in with the BKB. Ohio as well, and then they quickly realize this PL is absolutely gargantuan.
Absolutely, and we're going to see a few more kills being picked up by IG. Goes the way of Chuan, thank goodness. He's on my Fantasy League team, so he's going to be racking up some more points for me.
He's on mine too.
IG have taken Game 1. They're going to go into Game 2, and I mean, this is just the first match. This is a team who haven't been seen in a long time. They've taken a bit of a break since winning almost every important competition there is. MUFC have been very active here, but just getting outclassed and moved around the map by a more experienced and just IG who just look like they always have looked, unstoppable.
It's a complete team, and you know, you say they've taken a bit of a rest, and they certainly earned one since the International, but it is not showing, at least not in this game. Very solid, and they do it on the backs of some picks that we've definitely seen in the past in Chinese Dota, but not as common as of late. The Phantom Lancer, the Keeper of the Light, and boy do they make it work. That offensive tri-lane, just the decision to run it, was a thing of beauty, and the way they executed, so well done, getting the levels up on the supports, just a complete team. That's what IG is to me. It's all the players pulling their weight, doing their part, and just a masterful plan created by Faith from start to finish. They take Game 1, but this is a best out of 2 format. If MUFC come back and win Game 2, it's a tie, so they each get 1 point, I believe. If IG are able to take it 2-0, they'll get 3 points. So it's MUFC on the ropes for this game, but it is a long season. It's a long group stage. So even if they lose this, no big deal. And it's only our first match of the day. We do have DK versus Orange coming up later. But for now, that wraps up for this broadcast. I am LD, and of course, he is GoDz, and together, we are David and David. So thank you for watching, guys, and stay tuned. Game 2 will be coming up in a few moments.